Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I'm bringing you Next War, World War III. So far it's just China versus Taiwan because the other players haven't been pulled into the conflict yet. Well, U.S. is at intervention level 2, which is basically naval and air, which, you know, that's like when we get involved in stuff, that's pretty standard, right, is to do naval and air. Japan is at intervention level 1. They're just contributing supplies, intel, and SOF. Special Operations Forces intel is in the form of detecting enemy headquarters. That's basically as far as intel goes. So one thing I did forget to do before I finished up turn 1 is I forgot to roll to see what aborted planes for China, where they went. So if you look on the chart here, you roll it for each plane in this box, you roll a die, and if you get a 1 through 9, it just moves up 1 to the flown box. If you get a 0, then it goes to the ready box. I believe I rolled 2 zeros. There were six aircraft in here, so 2 of them ended up going to the flown box and the other 4 in the ready box. So, and then I've organized that mess that was right there. So I forgot to do that, but now that has been done. So we're looking here. So weather phase, game turns 1 and 2 are automatically clear. So there is basically no weather phase. It's predetermined for you by the scenario. Now next turn we'll roll for weather. The initiative phase and random events. So basically initiative, and I've already moved the markers, but you use these markers here. So VP's this turn, and you keep track of where your marker gets to on the game display. And I believe, where are we sitting at? So we're sitting at 14. Yeah, so the Chinese got 14. So you look at that, and initiative VPs, it's set out in a specific scenario what the initiative VPs are. So for this scenario, initiative VPs are 12. So what that means is as long as a side scores 12 victory points or more, they can get the initiative. So if just China gets at least 12 VPs, then they maintain the initiative. If Taiwan had gotten at least 12 VPs and China had gotten at least 12 VPs, it would have been a contested turn. So nobody gets the initiative. Now China would still be the first player, but they would not get the initiative. And basically, by having initiative, it allows you to do more things. Like the initiative player gets that phase, but the non-initiative player doesn't get that phase. And there's a few other turns that only the initiative player gets. Yeah, so the initiative, movement, and combat phase, only the initiative player gets that. I mean, there are sections of this turn that the allied player gets to do, but they don't get to do as many things. Second strike phase is initiative turn only. Second supply phase, so it pays to have the initiative, right? So basically what happened is China scored 14 VPs and the Allies scored a total of, I think they scored 4. They had 3 prior to the scenario start because I think China took the ability to actually use their aircraft carriers by putting a plane on it. So it's not a VP differential for the initiative. It's just did you meet this mark? And the Chinese did meet. They did score enough, so they maintained the initiative basically. Then I rolled for random events, which random events, it's a thing, I think it came with supplement 1. I'm pretty sure it came with supplement 1. So Chinese rolled event 31 and the Allies rolled event 46. So China got 31, so they conducted a successful cyber attack, which reduces the enemy SAM or detection track marker by 1. I chose to reduce the detection track by 1. And then the Allies rolled 46, which is refugee support, reduce friendly air mobile points by -1. So the Allies don't have any air mobile points, so that didn't affect them. So these random events can be good or bad. It all just depends. So both of them happen to be in favor of China, even though the Allies got lucky because they don't have any air mobile points. So that was, of all the bad random events to get, that was probably one of the better ones that they could have gotten. We did electronic detection phase. So the Allies, or excuse me, China detected this headquarters here. They tried to detect that one, but were unsuccessful. And then the Allies detected that Chinese headquarters that is right there. And look at that. We had a disaster right here. So these guys actually bumped them. That's what happens when you have a lot of chits on the map and you're trying to video and do other stuff. So now we're getting ready to do the first Special Operations Forces phase. So I'm going to detect or try to raid each track. I'm going to try to detect that headquarters. I'm going to try to raid this airfield. I'm going to try to detect and then target that headquarters. And I think that's it. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I have 6. All right, so we'll just go ahead and start here. We'll try to detect. If the detection fails, then the targeting automatically fails. So you can't target something that you haven't detected, right? So what we'll go ahead and do is, so the red die will be for the detection and the blue die will be for the targeting. So to detect a headquarters, basically I need to roll lower than a 4. I don't think, yeah, there are no other DRMs, so I need, on the red die, I need a 4. So that is detected successfully, and targeting needed to also be lower than a 4. So let's see, this guy is detected, and he is, now you have a targeted 1 and a targeted -2. The Chinese Special Forces can only do the -1. The Allies or the Americans, I think, can do the -2. Now let's see if they survive. Let's see, it's a so there's a -1. Nope. I'm sorry. So there's no DRM. So a 7 or higher, and the Special Forces guys don't survive. So both of those survived, so now they go over to the used box. So now we'll go ahead and do this raid. A raid against an airfield in Urban is a 6 or lower. So that was a failure. We tried to do a raid, so to survive, I need to roll a lower than a 6. So that guy did not make it. He was found out and subsequently eliminated. And then, so here we go. We'll just turn it that way. It makes it a little bit easier. I don't have enough table to mount it behind me or sitting right in front of me, so you're going to have to look at things a little bit sideways, I guess. So this is going to be, what did I say? No, I remember what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually do a raid on that airfield. So this is going to be the same as last time. A raid in Urban has better chances of success. So I need a 6 or lower. Yeah, so that'll be a strike 1 with possible collateral damage. Let's see if he survives. Need to roll lower than a 6. And that guy doesn't make it either. Sometimes it's just a one-way mission. All right, so the detection tracks down here. Basically, we need to roll lower than a 4. So the blue will be the SAM and the red will be the detection or the radar site, or whatever you want to call it. All right, neither one of those was successful. They're trying to do a raid, so 6, lower than a 6. We need a 5 or lower to survive. All right, so both of those made it back. And they'll go to the used box. All right, so yeah, this, for whatever reason, it has been a pain in the butt to try to get to reduce this detection track. I'm actually playing a guy over Vassal, and who am I? I'm the Chinese. I'm the PRC in that scenario, and I've had really good luck knocking down his ADF tracks. So, but in this particular game, not great luck. But that's how it goes, right? Sometimes the dice land in your favor, and sometimes they don't. But so I just wanted to cover those first 4 turns. I'm going to try to keep the videos. I don't like, so I noticed that my last 2 videos were almost an hour long. And I don't like them being that long, just because I know how reluctant I can be to watching a video that's an hour long. I'm much more likely to watch something that is 30 minutes or less. That's just me personally, so I'm going to try to keep these in a little bit smaller chunks. That doesn't mean that, like I noticed, so game turn 1 took 2 hours on film to do. It took basically all day to do it, but it took 2 hours of things that I videoed to do. So it'll probably end up being, each turn will be more than 2 parts. But if there's any thoughts on that, anybody has any comment about, hey man, the video was kind of long, I'll just break, you know, or if you're fine with watching something for an hour, that's, you know, just, hey, let me know what you think. You know, what would you rather see? Smaller, more videos but less time, or is the 1 hour fine? But I'm going to go ahead and we're moving on to the air naval phase now. That's going to take a bit, so I'll be back in whenever I'm back to finish that up. I have just conducted the sea control phase, and I don't remember exactly. I should have marked them, but I don't remember exactly. I don't know if I ever conducted sea control for the Marianas, but I went ahead and gave control to the Allies. I mean, because you are right outside of Guam, right? This carrier battle group did manage to get control of the central approaches. The Spratlys Sea area went to the Chinese. And I think the only other thing was the Paracels inshore box is now controlled by the Chinese. So there's pretty much, so we have Chinese control of the sea area for the Spratlys, South China Sea, Taiwan Straits, East China Sea. We have Chinese control of the East China Sea inshore, Taiwan Straits, and the Paracels, and then we have Allied control of Penghu Island. You have to invade that to try to get control of it. It's just like invading, or not invading, but when you do the when you move a unit into an urban area or a city, you have to do the clearing marker. So they actually have to invade with land forces and then clear those islands. And then again, we have Allied control of the central approaches and the Marianas. Naval detection came after that. So that battle group was detected. These guys remained undetected. And then, so the inshore box here, we've got area detected and then point for those guys. This guy here, this amphibious ship was detected. The other ones were not. And then that surface action group is in port. So in port naval units are always area detected. I'm not quite sure why I have a surface action group, a ROK one in Japan. I don't know if I screwed up during setup. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm just going to, you know, it's like golf, right? Play it as it lies. That's what I'm going to do with that. And then we rolled for mine clearing. Also, unsuccessfully unsuccessful attempt at clearing that mine. That mine did get cleared, so that is gone. Which I don't think is a big deal because we weren't doing any kind of amphibious landings there. But that definitely opens up that spot for further game turns if I want to do that. I guess it's all going to depend on how things go here as to if I want to increase my beachhead. But everything seems to be going well here. I'm able to function with this despite this area being mined. The mines affect this hex, and this hex, as well as the hex that they're in. So, yeah, it's the Chinese are doing decent. And now we're going to go to the second special operations phase. So the Allies get to do all of their special forces operations, whatever they want to do. So I will go ahead and get those placed on the map, and then we may or may not roll on, may or may not do it live. Probably we're going to do it live. I like doing stuff live if I can, as long as it's not too tedious, like the air superiority step. Oh, you know what? I didn't even cover the air superiority. Did I cover that? No, I don't think I, let me cover air superiority. So the Chinese now have supremacy, which is not good. So the AWACS advantage was a 1. If you get supremacy, it increases it by 2. And then this is what we're looking at as far as the aftermath. It's so they have 12, the Allies have 2, so that's a 6-to-1 odds. So that's why we went to supremacy, because it's at least 5-to-1 odds. In the advanced game, yeah, the Allies didn't do too well. They sent a couple guys from their carrier. Could they have done that? I don't even... Yeah, they could have done that, because that carrier... So if you look here, that carrier's in the central approaches. They have all the planes on that carrier have medium range, which is a range of 1 area. So they can reach the Taiwan Straits at sea box. So these guys were eligible, and I think one of them even he didn't do so well, and that was, I think, one of my better planes too. Yeah, that was that F-18 was one of my better planes, had a good pilot rating and everything, but the Chinese pilot was just a little bit better. Had several guys go to the aborted box. The Chinese didn't have quite so many. So yeah, the Chinese definitely, the pendulum is swinging in their favor at this point in time. I did not... A plane is what? Let's look at what, because we did, in fact, they did destroy 1 plane too. So what is a U.S.? No, that's not a U.S. air unit. That is a ROC. For each other air unit eliminated. So +1. So the Chinese have +1 victory point this turn. And then, now, we'll get on to the special operation forces phase. So I'll get all that set up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, everybody. So after a little bit of looking and digging into rules and things that I can do and everything, it's taken me a minute because I wanted to utilize my Allied Special Forces to the best of their ability. There's a brief mention that, in fact, let me double check. So in the Vietnam rules, Rule 20.1.3 for eligible mission targets for Special Operations Forces, it mentions bridges. I was like, man, well, I want to blow up a bridge. So then I look on the Special Operations Forces CRT on the game card, and there isn't anything for bridge. So I had to dig. And in Next War India-Pakistan is where they introduced the bridge destruction. It said that bridges are considered installations. So I'm looking at the Special Forces Operations CRT, or Special Operations Forces CRT. And so I had to cough real quick, so I put it on pause. I'm not quite sure where I was at. But anyway, In the next war, India-Pakistan rules has bridges are considered installations. I don't think so. Me personally, an installation is a large thing, right? It is a large, covers a lot of area of many buildings, facilities, infrastructure, all kinds of stuff. And to say a bridge is the equivalent of a massive installation. And again, not all installations are massive, but there's a lot of stuff at an installation. There are many things. If a special forces unit was going to target those, there are a bunch of different things that you would probably try to hit in that same raid. And I don't consider a bridge that. So I'm going to give the bridge the same equivalency as a helo/airfield. Because bridges are pretty focused, right? It's usually going to be, if it's an interstate type thing, it's going to be two bridges. It's going to be one bridge dedicated to one direction of traffic and another bridge dedicated to another direction of traffic. On a secondary road, it's probably going to be one span. So I'm going to give a bridge the equivalency of, again, helo airfield. And what I saw here is I saw this river, or this is a, what is it? Minor river. And we've got the Chinese. It looks like they're overextended. So I'm going to try to take out, so there's 3 bridges. Let me see if we can. So we've got this bridge over this secondary road. We've got this primary road, and we've got this primary road. So I've got 3 U.S. Special Forces teams, chits, whatever you want to call them, dedicated to destroying those 3 bridges. I have a Special Forces team that's going to try to hit a cruise missile site in China. I have... I have 2 special you can't see them because they're on the other side of this, but I have 2 Special Forces teams. I think they're going to try to do interdiction on this road right here, just to kind of make a choke point. Actually, it probably won't affect too much, but I'm going to leave it as it is. And then I've got 2 Special Forces. I'm going to try to hit that port right there. Because if you can take out... Now, China is considered to have unlimited ports for the game, right? Like, if I destroyed that, then China's naval capacity is not 0. So for each destroyed marker you have in that box, you have to pull an AMF. You have to send an AMF, one of these AMPs, back to the game, to the turn track. And as long as you have an AMP on the turn track, it reduces your sea transport capacity. So I'm going to try to kind of hit China in the sea transport area. I mean, I'm going to try. Raids are notoriously unsuccessful, so we will see. But let's go ahead and roll for interdiction right there. So let's see here. Interdiction, what is that? That is considered, I think that's rough. Yeah, it's considered rough terrain. So, man, interdiction on rough terrain? Oh, that's terrible. I can only succeed on a 1. Yeah, that is awful. So I have two units there. So I need to get a 1 or less. And I got a 0. Man, how often does that happen? Watch. The bridges are what I really want to wreck, because I think that will really throw a wrench into the plans of China. But we'll see how that goes. Now I got to figure out which interdiction marker. I think I have 2 different ones. Yeah, I have a 1 or a 2. I got to figure out which one goes there. All right, so just an interdiction 1 goes there. Had both of them been successful, then I would have put an interdiction 2 there. Let's see if they survive. Let's see here. Non-US UK allied. So that's a -1, but then there's a +1 for the interdiction. So there is no DRM. So a 7 or higher and they're dead. So one of them does not survive. All right, let's look at the bridges. All right, so blue will be the northern one. Or actually, black will be the northern one. Blue will be the center one. And then red will be, so it'll go black, blue, and then red. So the top one has got the worst chance, and the other, actually those two, so this first bridge, so this bridge and this bridge are in flat, that bridge is in rough. So the rough one has a slightly better chance of succeeding. I do have a -1 versus bridges. So let's look at that. +2 if occupied by at least a brigade. Well, it depends on which hex you're looking at. That's the funny thing, right? Like, which hex are we looking at? So this hex, but I'm behind enemy lines. I would say because you could kind of notionally think that these roads are going to be kind of well traveled from Chinese supplies and stuff traveling that way. I'm going to give that a +1 DRM for all of those because those are going to be traveled routes. So we'll say that there is no DRM at all. So it's black, black, blue, red. All right. So that one definitely, the blue one doesn't succeed. So 4 and a 3. So 4 is that one. That one is not successful. The 3 is successful. So that bridge, let's see if I can get this bad boy in here. It's going to be fun. This bridge right here is destroyed. It's not really the results I was wanting. That's not going to... It's really not going to funnel the Chinese. Actually, I wanted to stop the Chinese. It's not going to... It's going to funnel them, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think... this guy, this stack right here may end up being out of supply when it's all said and done. So that might be a good thing. Being out of supply will slow them down a little bit, which, you know, that's kind of the results that I was trying to get. So let's see if these guys survive. They're all U.S. Special Forces. So there's a -3 DRM, but they were doing interdictions, so that's a +1. So it's a -2. So basically, a 9 is the only thing that's going to kill them. So if I roll any 9s, then those guys are gone. So all of them survived. And then what do we have? We have our cruise missiles that we're trying to hit. That is a theater weapon. Got a 0, so a 0 is -2. So that means the Chinese will lose 2 cruise missiles. So we'll go ahead and move that down. At least I think that. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. All right. So let's see if these guys survive. 5, I'm pretty sure that's a survival. Yeah, that's going to be a survival. Pretty easy. And then let me put you back on the used. And then I think the only other one that we have, well, we have these 2 up here. So we're going to try to... What are we doing? We're trying to hit their port. That's a raid. That's going to be an installation. I believe ports are considered flat. I think the airfields, or not the airfields, but the air bases are considered rough, I think. But the port is definitely considered flat. And it's the installation. So basically, I need to roll a 2 or lower. Oh, versus Sam or theater weapon was a +1. I believe, I'm not going to go back and look at the footage, but I believe that one would still have succeeded. So, going to leave it as it is. Doesn't matter. All right, so for that port, I'm going to say that it is occupied but by less than 1 brigade. So that gives it a +1 DRM. So +1 DRM. So my best, the 7 is obviously a miss. The 2 turns into a 3, which is a miss. So let's roll for survival. The blue die will be the U.S. And both of them survive. All right, well, we were kind of successful. We destroyed a couple of cruise missile sites by infiltrating the People's Republic of China with special forces, and then we got. I mean, we did get some interdiction here. I don't know how well the interdiction is going to play out in the long run. It probably won't do anything. And then we destroyed that bridge. But if we can get that bridge, another one of those bridges, especially if we can get that one will really screw up the Chinese. So, oh, where were we? Where are we? So that's the second special operation forces phase. Now we go into the first strike phase. So I will go ahead and take care of all the first strike phase stuff and then get back with you. I have my cruise missile targets already plotted, so 2 of them are on the display, on the naval display. We're going to try to hurt some aircraft carriers on both sides. I also looked in the sub rules, the submarine rules, and it said that submarines are allowed to fire free cruise missiles. They have to reveal themselves, but then they can flip back over. And I kind of chose not to do that just because I don't have any subs in the Taiwan Straits at sea box. The rules aren't clear about range or anything like that, but I'm gonna just err on the side of caution and say that a submarine with a cruise missile that's cruise missile capable, and this is so it's gonna have the little cruise missile symbol on the bottom of it. The only ones that have it are the U.S. and I think some China ones have it too. Let me look. I don't like looking at the. No, maybe the PRC doesn't have anything with a cruise missile on it. So maybe it's only U.S. subs. I just looked at them and I don't see one that's got a cruise missile symbol on it. So the U.S. ones do. There's 2 of them. But I'm going to say it has to be in the same at-sea zone in order for it to be able to use cruise missiles. And they're free. They don't count towards your allotment of cruise missiles, which is kind of cool. So you could basically use them unlimited. Not really, because you can only use them the 1 time per turn. But, so let's resolve the 2 cruise missile strikes against this carrier. They do get the CIWS air defense fire thing first to see if we shoot those missiles down. I believe it stands for close-in weapons system. It's like that Gatling gun system that's on board a lot of U.S. Navy ships that just fires thousands of rounds a minute. So CVN has a AAA of 3. and we get -2 to the die roll. Yeah, we get -2 to the die roll. So that'll be a 0 and a 1. So I believe, so that gives me an X result and an A result. So I'm pretty sure that basically nothing happens. So the cruise missiles got shot down before they made it to their intended target. Now the Chinese carrier, which is that one, the Chinese carrier, I had to look up something real quick. So they have a AAA of 2, and they only get a -1 because their close-in weapon systems are not as good as the U.S. So basically, we need to roll a 1. The Chinese need to roll a 1 or lower. So one of them does not make it. Now we get to find out what it does. So that is, and it is point detected. So I get a -1 to that. And it's a +1 for missed cruise missile, so it evens out. So a 9, I don't think that doesn't do anything. So that's one of the things that's kind of frustrating about cruise missile attacks is that you get all excited about them. You're like, man, I'm going to blow some stuff up. And then nothing happens because, you know, I guess admittedly so, the naval defenses, their air defense umbrellas and all that are pretty stout, right? So let me see. That guy fired a cruise missile. I'm going to say this surface action group. Actually, I don't. Oh, you know what? I have to allocate who fired the U.S. cruise missiles. I already did it for the Chinese. Determined who shot them. These surface action groups, and then I used one of the aircraft that you're allowed to allocate. All right, so of the 3 cruise missiles launched by the U.S., one of them was from that carrier battle group, and the other 2 were from B-52s that were based in Guam, USA. So those, if we look over here, those B-52s have now flown. So that was basically their mission. I probably should have used them to carpet bomb some of these Chinese dudes back into oblivion, but whatever. I'm going to use some cruise missiles, which were ineffective. So now I'm going to do the cruise missile against that bridge. It's in marsh or flat, and it says on here for DRMs +2 versus a bridge or beachhead. For the beachhead, I can understand that, right? Because you're going to have, the beachhead is going to be basically an ad hoc naval port. They're going to have a pretty decent ADF umbrella around that thing because they don't want to get destroyed. But this is a bridge. And I've seen gun cam footage, like most of us probably have from the first Persian Gulf War, where we were putting cruise missiles through windows of houses and stuff. So I'm not going to allow that +2 DRM for the cruise missiles on that bridge. So I'm just going to roll the die, and we'll see what we get. A 5. Five gives a strike 1. On that bridge. So I'm not quite sure. We'll go ahead and so you got too much stuff in the way. Well, that goes there. Make sure we put that there. I think a strike 1 on a bridge doesn't do anything. You have to get the destroyed result. So the bridge has been damaged, but And this is just me not looking at anything. Yeah, so I just looked in the rules, and a bridge is fully operational until it's destroyed. So I've just made it a little easier to destroy, and I did finally find the bridge destruction rules in the Next War Vietnam manual. It is Rule 27.1 or 27.10.1.1 for SOF bridge destruction. So it does exist. And it does say in there that you're targeting an installation. I still don't agree with that. I don't think a bridge is going to be as strong as an installation. So this is one of those times where my game, my rules, right? So so anybody who buys this game and plays it, right? It's your game. You can tweak it however you want. So this is one of those cases where I am going to make the call and say my game, my rules. In fact, I already did that by writing bridge on my player aid card. So by me writing it in Sharpie marker makes it permanent and forever. All right, so my last roll is going to be here on the SAM track. So what we are going to do is, let's see here, cruise missiles against ADF track. So I need to roll a 3 or lower. And these are Chinese missiles. So I think it's a +1 because they're not quite as good. So no effect. All right, so that takes care of that section of the strike phase, first strike phase. We have conducted all the way up through cruise missiles. So that's 7B. This video has gone on for about 40 minutes. I think I'm going to cut it off there, and then I will just start up with another video. I'm trying to get these videos in a little bit smaller chunks, because I mean, an hour is quite a while to sit there and watch some idiot like myself blather on about, you know, something nerdy like this. So anyway, I hope everybody's enjoying watching it. And if you got any questions, comments, smart remarks, what have you, feel free to leave comments.